Smoke being fumed heavily. Downtown's First Street in Santa Clara. There's not that many people out, so I'm just gonna take off from here. Everyone 6-0 according to their deeds. Just remember that they're changing my voice. I'm gonna have to do this without the mic because it's raining. Back here, I think there used to be tables over here. I don't think that bathroom used to be there. And over here, around the time of 9/11, I had a beer with a person. I had a paper bag. He was a white guy. He said he lived across the street over there somewhere, and he's been coming here forever. Remember, I used to go over here to, instead of going to school over there across the street at Deanza. And the street name here is Mary, right? Going to Deanza, it's North Campus Street or something, road, whatever. And here, coming into here, it's Mary. And of course, that goes back to Mary Kate, my ex-girlfriend, Maria, who broke my heart, and so on and so forth. Okay? This is key here because it happened around 9/11 where that guy was talking, and the war on terror is partly about, they talk about ISIS and so on. It's partly about romance. It's almost entirely about controlling reproduction. Because Muslims are notorious for resisting Western reproduction, at least back then, right? Reproductive control. It's a story for another day. It's raining pretty hard, but I wanted to kind of, go through memory lane here. And you have to come out here all the time and skip class and come here. Because the school system, the way school systems are structured are ridiculous. And I speak out against that. So yeah, as I was saying, I used to come out here and, used to skip class and come out here. And I drove across the street a little earlier. And, the parking structure is a little shorter, a little smaller than I remember. I remember it being higher up. The campus looked a lot similar. This is memory lane. I used to come back here to go to that community college back in 2001. And I went there to at least 2 different times. I went to Gavilan College in summer school in Gilroy, and I went to Gavilan College later on, and then I dropped out. And I went to Deanza twice and dropped out. The smartest person that ever lived, and the school system is designed for looks, right? The word school is the word looks spelled backwards, right? With the C instead of a K, and the H. And they talk about being a preppy person, prep, right? Being a stud, being a jock, being a nerd. These words are like similar Greek society words, the Greek system, how Greek people think, right? Gays, Jews, nerds, LGBT people, they think in a similar manner. It's not very masculine, very intense. And so their brain is wired to learn, to have an easier time learning in the system, but a lot of them do bad, but a lot of them don't. And it has to do with that, the reason why they do things a certain way, especially bloodlines, right? They're scientific races, and they try to find scientific ways to give their offspring the upper hand. And in recent years, it's blown up in their face to the extreme. The governing class looks so bad. These rich, racist, white Jew and LGBT people who led the charge to scream me out, they look so bad, so bad. Because of Asians being, over there, Asia's over there by Europe, Eurasia, some of them tend to do good as well, and some tend to not do so good. And there's certain genetic factors, there's certain social factors, certain economic factors, various factors, right? Also, when you get your heart broken, right? The system is designed to break the heart of the righteous man, right? They say good guys finish last, the good guys get thrown under the bus, and that factors in big time as well. Because I used to come out here broken heart, just devastated from heartbreak, from high school, from junior high, summer school, just devastated and not wanting to go to class. And I'd smoke weed, and I'd come out over here and I'd drink and smoke weed instead. Okay, so remember that they're changing my voice. So when I used to come out here, part of the reason why like I was saying, when I used to come out here, part of the reason when I used to come out here, part of the reason why was because I was shunned to some degree, right? I knew people who went to the school. I knew maybe people that I hung out with, mind you, maybe 10 people, 12. But I'm different than other people. I think a lot more deeply. I'm a lot more righteous. A lot of people are under some groupie stuff. They don't quite understand life. They don't understand things. So I often found myself out here, even though other people were doing bad in the school as well, I found myself out here feeling sort of brokenhearted, betrayed by society, what have you. And when I went back again, eventually I went back again with one of my girlfriends, and we both were in the same class. And we disagreed with the anthropology teacher about whether Ethiopia should be considered East Africa or North Africa. And there's implications on their racial narrative, their racial supremacy narrative in regards to the Bible and history, when it comes to why they categorized it as North Africa. It's a long story I'm not going to go over right now. It has to do with the classifications of races and why they felt the need to try to argue that Ethiopians were magically white and turned black or something. Okay. So, being out here, right? Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and this street is called Mary. Going back to my ex-fiancée, Mary Kate, and they have Mary, Cat E, and Maria Mello, right? Would have mellowed me out. And they think that they win something by rubbing things in, bringing things up, trying to sensitize me to certain issues, and then bringing it up time and time again. There's implications on trauma-based mind control, which is real. It's a very common tactic they use to try to get people to be turned out, right? They use it on prostitutes, for example. They use it on people in prison that they turn out. They use on a lot of people. A lot of this is like sexual control, and they think that if they play the lame, tame, dame game, okay, using women, the dame, to try to tame, and it's a lame game, it's stupid. And as they say in the Bible, the blind and the lame will not enter the palace in 2 Samuel 5, because it's the martial art order is the order of God, not a kind of Revenge of the Nerds order, Borat, Rick Moranis, what have you. And a lot of these Jewish people are more regular, but a lot of them are very funny style, and they have a racist tradition like the Klan does, right? The Klan got its traditions from the frat structure, which was a bunch of white Jews and LGBT people. And they think that if they harass me and they do things in a weirdo way, that they're getting something from it. They think that it makes them important. It's like, think of nerds trying to bully people. There's a reason why nerds are defined as foolish and contemptible and boringly studious. And the word Greek is like the word geek, and the word Greek is like the word greed. No offense to anybody. So they bent over backwards to try to set the stage for that, and they did things like, they filmed me, so there's stuff on the window. Not the fumes don't always produce those things on the window, but they're doing that as well. So let me just cut this short. I'm over here in Cupertino. This is actually a different city. So, and I went by Deanza earlier. I went by San Jose State downtown. I have that clip as well. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put that clip at the beginning of this. And this is day 8. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, day 9, and then I'll be wrapping this up on day 10. Okay. And hopefully the fumes and poisons will have killed me by then, because I'm very bored and very sick of this stuff. It's very pathetic to see people behave in a way that's so cowardly. I've been on this planet a long time, and it's very, it's very kind of lame. I think first and foremost it's lame to be here with the stupid games they're playing. I have a bunch of racist nerds and gays harassing me, white supremacists trying to benefit from it, people with crests wearing suits trying to pretend that their genes are superior, going to their fancy balls and meetings and dinner parties and restaurants, and they think they're important. And it's so pathetic. They're so disgraced in the eyes of God. And they talk about, the wordplay of race and disgrace. They try to make, the wordplay of embrace and disgrace and race. They believe if they embrace the disgrace, that getting a bunch of money and fair weather whores and gold diggers and just dumb sluts, dumb enough to reproduce with pure oppressors, right? Rich, blood money oppressors on the spectrum, mind you. Not all these people work for the military industrial complex or something. You could be working for IBM or Apple or, whatever, right? Working for, Samsung, like you name it, Ford. And you're still a rich blood money oppressor. Especially when we consider your corporation's part in persecuting people and turning a blind eye to the homeless and so on and so forth. So as we look at this thing, it's like every day I find myself bringing up the homeless, the child hunger, the health care, the people who don't have adequate access to health care, the corrupt system. Just today I saw about 30-minute video on YouTube of Donald Trump and Elon Musk talking about how they found so much corruption that they believe they can cut $1 trillion off from the budget. And of course, I don't entirely blame them. And they were caught in a mistake where they said that they sent $50 million. The government sent $50 million of condoms to Hamas in Gaza, when it turns out that it was to Mozambique. And I said, I was on record. I said from the start, I said, I want them to release the hostages immediately. I don't want the war to play out. It's going to be very costly, very stupid. All these days later, the war was very costly, very stupid. Tens of thousands of people were killed in Gaza. And there's other wars going on, Ukraine, lots of people dying there. Other wars going on elsewhere as well. And I'm not keeping track of all of them. I have a lot to do. But like Bob Marley said, there's so much trouble in the world. And again, I'm Christ. Bob Marley was just Bob Marley, but I liked him as a singer and so on and so forth. He was mistaken about some religious concepts. It's important that I mention that when they put that license plate out there where they said the J word, the word that Rastas used for God, that magically won. The one true God won, and not from any of your religious systems, including Rastafari, as much as it's an interesting system. Okay. So I bring these things up all the time. It's the same pathetic, racist, white Jew and LGBT spirit that tramples the poor, that doesn't give them a chance to go to heaven. It just starves them to death. It has them out in the streets dying of exposure. It's the winter. How many people in this country died in the winter of hypothermia and of exposure and of things related to being weathered in the streets? I bring up their 6,000 children completely on their own in the streets. I bring it up when I go out and try to talk to people. And notice that none of those people that I interview, and there's at least 2 or 3 that I tried to interview. The other one, the other day I was at Santa Cruz like a couple days ago or something. I tried to ask this one female. She said she had somewhere to go. None of those people have actually teamed up with me. Like I told you all those days ago, I said, what do you expect me to go out there and try to talk to people? Okay, no matter how I approach it, they're not going to respond because they're all in cults, social clubs, political groups. They're all, mommy's girls, daddy's boys, mama's boys. They're not like brave people. America is not the land of the brave, It's the land of conformists, it's the land of the sheep. The main people who explain the sheep argument to the world were Americans, first and foremost, talking about Americans. No offense to anybody, but that is a huge problem here. Indifference is the difference between people who go to heaven and the people who don't. Is how they, the things that pertain to indifference. They're indifferent and they refuse to get together for what's right. And so, like I said, speaking of things I called, and again, I'm being fumed, I made an official stance playlist where I brought up my official stance on Palestine. I bent over backwards to make it clear to them that the governing class are terrorizing people. The Israeli government is terrorizing people to some degree. Hamas themselves to some degree are terrorizing people. They're a controlled opposition group. The Islamic Jihad to some degree terrorizes people. They're another controlled opposition group. But it's trickle-down terror, trickle-down blood money. The war on terror, they have the nerve, because I was over here at this park around 9/11. Going to Deanza College. And that person, that white gentleman I was having a beer with here, he brought up that they're going to win the war on terror and so on and so forth. And that, the people from the Middle East don't have a chance. And they did some kind of drill. And I never verified it, but he told me they did some kind of drill where they went through the motions of bombing something or something. And a lot of these guys came out with their white flags up, scared. And, okay, I was here at this park. And this park is on a street called Mary. Okay, and I could have been married. I made a song in 2012 or the beginning of 2013, the end of 2012 or beginning of 2013, where I said I could have been married by now. She was far in Greece. Okay, and she left me for another guy because they're in cults. She was even Greek and Italian. Okay, got a Greco-Roman right there. And the 3 females they did after her, verified secret society people, verified. All of them are in some kind of government-related organization or secret society is what I mean by secret society people. Cults, social clubs, gangs that take their orders, what have you. Verified. Okay? So the government planted people in my life while females were shunning me and just doing what the devil says because guys failed to raise them right and so on and so forth. Other guys. where it applies. And people, because of their paths, fed into it, except for me. And the 3 females I dated after my ex-fiance who left me for another guy did the same thing. And that was probably around 2009. So I was here in 2001. That's about 8 years later for me being at this park feeling sad. And since then, I was at the park in Cottle, okay, on Cottle Road. It's by Cottle Road in Santa Teresa. It's like 4 or 5 blocks down toward Burnell. And I used to hang out there and drink at the park, brokenhearted, and smoke and so on and so forth. Okay? Because I was shunned by your society. I was at parks like these, feeling sad, feeling down on my luck, feeling betrayed by society. You know, make no mistake, when the Son of Man came to earth, you all betrayed me. And think that the churches rolled out the red carpet. I mean, think about where we are here. California is one of the main places on this planet when it comes to churches and martial arts schools. America has the most martial arts schools in the world. 1 in 9 people or so that live in America live in California. It's said to be like the 4th biggest economy on the planet. Okay, by itself, even though it's a state. There's tons of churches here, martial arts schools here, mosques, synagogues, you name it. And I was betrayed every step of the way by the inhabitants of the earth. Persecuted by the scum of the earth. Persecuted for decades. And they're paying people out for sexual harassment and this, that, and the other thing. Did I see a dime, after I from compensation for them doing experiments on me, fuming me, poisoning me? After my dad giving away millions of dollars in free service over the years to the community? No. Because it's the same thing that's wrong with the church. White privilege and token minority privilege. You people just have your hands out and you're saying, gimme, gimme, gimme to God, and God hates you for it. He hates you for it. He hates you for what you're doing to me. And your offspring are a reminder of your fucking betrayal.